I hope you guys can hear me right now. Share screen. YouTube. I actually know. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hello? Hello? You're on the wall, so okay. Oh, oh, I don't know what to do. My mom's oh yeah, I'll let you do some. Hi, so.
Hold on, wait. What was this game called? Ain't it out something? What's it called, chat? Out.
I
What's
got
it
a new
called?
chair, guys. I got a new chair. It's like a, I don't know. It's just a good chair.
Out. $35. Oh man. $35 is kind of crazy though, chat. I can't remember the last time I spent $35 on a game. You can't see my screen, right?
Okay, so.
We're good. Bro, if y'all could see my screen right now, GG's. Oh man, I'd be
Lag is
cooked.
insane.
Golly, you don't understand, Chad. I'd be cooked, bro.
No lag. Yeah, that's how lag. I got that two first.
I can see it. What's my social security number then? All right, it's downloading. Hold up, is this game done yet? Oh, it is. All right, chat, let's get sucked up by a twister. Then we're playing New Chilla's Art after. Chat, remember August 31st. That's next month. Wait, no, it's this month. In 21 days.
Oh, damn it.
I still thought it was July for a minute. What did this dude just say? Bro, what happened between you and Nick A30? I've never spoken to him in my life. What do you mean, what happened? Yo, Mosquito with the 5. Anonymous with the 5. Yo, can this? Oh, here we go. What is bro talking about?
I can truly hear my computer dying in the background.
Bro has beef? I guess I do, man.
It literally is. I turned on.
Hold on, chat. Let's see what this says.
Mode. And I guess it's.
Storm chasing is extremely dangerous. Yeah, I don't care. I'm good.
Right now. Oh. Yeah.
Yep, got that too. Bro said, what happened between you and Nick A30? Bro, what does that even mean?
What is okay?
That makes no sense. Oh, Chad, we about to die, man.
Oh, man.
Is that me? Your first beef? Nah, I ain't got beef with nobody. Never will. Except Hassan, because he's still mad that I yo, there's no way Hassan unironically likes Mountain Dew. I literally saw a clip of him saying they should take my fat card away because I don't like Mountain Dew. Bro, Mountain Dew is legitimately disgusting. You know what Mountain Dew tastes like? Mountain Dew legitimately tastes like acid reflux. And as a person who has had acid reflux problems for a big part of my life, that's exactly what Mountain Dew tastes like, and Baja Blast. It is disgusting. And the fact that there's so many Mountain Dew defenders is actually insane because like on everything I love, it tastes like carbonated battery acid. Baja Blast is amazing. No, it's not. No, it's not. But dude, literally everybody kept talking about, oh man, when you go to Taco Bell, get the Baja Blast and it'll change your life. I literally got the Baja Blast from Taco.
What? What?
I don't.
What's the Kraken back?
Oh, I feel like it's much worse than that.
What? What?
Maybe nothing will happen. Oh, God.
What just happened? Oh. Oh, I didn't do that. Oh, we're fine.
Oh.
Now y'all gotta throw it back.
I'm watching the last stream that is. Oh. Oh. Why no 100 was to find out?
Everyone knows about the famous face on Mars. this structure has been a topic of much controversy since its discovery by the Viking 1 orbiter in 1976. But have you heard of this strange face on Mars, also known as the crowned face? What about the strange Native American face that can be seen here on Earth? Or what about this face on the moon? Okay, wait, that's literally just 3 craters. But either way, the planets and moons in our solar system feature an array of strange structures and objects, from faces to monoliths to strange lines, and we'll be discussing many of them in today's video. And not all of these are like fake science lore structures. Like, we're going to be talking about real scientific structures as well. Like, what is up with this equatorial ridge on Iapetus, one of Saturn's moons? What is going on there? We'll also be looking at some unique craters and a bunch of other cool stuff, so let's get into it.
Ow! I almost bit my tongue.
Let's actually start off here on Earth. So back in 2005, Lynn Hickox was chilling on Google Earth, something that I do quite a bit, to be honest. They were looking through Canada, as one does, and they noticed something strange, a weird face feature within the hills. And it really does look like a face feature. Like, it's 3D. Like, you can see the nose and the eyes and the mouth. Lynn Hickox then shared the coordinates on a Google Earth forum, and people were like, yo, you're right. What is going on? There's a bunch of news stories about it. It even has its own Wikipedia page now.
Oh, I see the face now. Right here. Oh, cool.
And since then, it has gained the name the Badlands Guardian. Some people say that the Badlands Guardian looks like a Native American with a headdress. Some say that this road to an oil rig right here represents headphones. The satellite imagery makes it look like a higher hill or a plateau, but this is actually a concave feature. Perhaps it's all just part of an ancient Native American civilization that was in that valley. Perhaps they used an unknown secret technology to be able to terraform the hills as a way to communicate with aliens. Now, it's a completely natural coincidental structure created by erosion. All this can be blamed on a phenomenon known as pareidolia. This is when us humans create faces out of weird things such as clouds, or, if you look at an outlet and it's like, aw, 2 eyes and a mouth, a face. Yeah, pareidolia. Our brains are just wired to recognize faces, and that's exactly what's going on here. In fact, if we look at other parts of the same valley just a few miles away, other strange face-like structures can be seen. Like this. See the nose, the eyes, and the mouth? What's crazy to me is that this wasn't even discovered until 2005. You think that maybe a pilot would be like... But no, that never happened. Now, when many people see the Badlands Guardian, it reminds them of another face. The face on Mars. The face on Mars is actually part of a larger complex known as Cydonia. And we'll get to that. This face was discovered by the Viking 1 orbiter in 1976. At first, the scientists behind the Viking 1 program dismissed the face-like feature, claiming it was just coincidental due to the unique shadowing. However, 35 Viking orbits later, the same face appeared again. However, throughout the years, technology has changed and it's advanced, and we have sent other orbiters to get a closer look. This was done with both the Mars Global Surveyor and the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. And the images they have of the face, yeah. Clearly, it's just a mountain. Now, one thing that makes the face on Mars a little more intriguing are actually the pyramid structures that are located nearby. This pyramid structure, located right here in relationship to the face, is sometimes referred to as the D&M pyramid. And there's another pyramid structure right here. What is going on? Could this area be the ruins of an ancient Martian city? I wish, that'd be sick. But no, it's not. It's just another classic example of pareidolia. We should still send a rover, though, just to get a better look and be sure, because I don't know. That looks like a pyramid. We're not done with faces quite yet. There's another facial feature on Mars located within the Libya Montez region, an ancient high ground near the Martian equator. It was first observed by the Mars Global Surveyor in 2000. You can see the nose, the eyes, and the mouth, and also a crown-like feature. This is why this structure is sometimes referred to as the crowned face. Similar to Cydonia, it can best be seen at specific angles with specific shadowing. Not every strange structure on Mars is a face. In 2012, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter used its HiRISE camera, captured this photo of strange spirals on the Martian surface near Cerebus Palus within the Elysium Volcanic Province. These are lava coils caused by the Kelvin-Helmholtz instability of lava flowing in different directions, and they can actually be seen here on Earth, specifically on the big island of Hawaii. The HiRISE camera also discovered a monolith on the surface of Mars. Remember that 2001 Space Odyssey inspired monolith that people found in Utah? Well, apparently, there might be one on Mars too. But don't get your hopes up, because this is just a rectangular shaped boulder, and it looks even more square due to the low resolution of the photo, aka the pixels are square, making it look even more rectangular than it actually is. And on top of all of that, the sun happened to be at a low angle near the horizon, which extended the shadow, making it look larger than it is. Some unusual objects can be seen on the Martian surface as well. And if you want to see strange things on the surface of another planet, a good place to start would be an ancient, dried up lake bed. And that's exactly where NASA's Curiosity rover is located. And it's seen some weird things. For example, on May 7th, 2012, Curiosity used its mast cam to capture this panoramic view of the East Cliffs, a feature part of Mount Sharp. All was fine and dandy, but wait, zoom in. What on Mars is that? Is that a man-made doorway to a secret alien underground base? Perhaps the reason why we haven't seen any Martians on the surface is because they're all located underground. Well, unfortunately, this doorway is only about 30 centimeters tall, but perhaps a small alien race. Nah, it's just another natural thing that looks man-made. You know, if you take enough photos of a cliff or of the surface of another planet, you're gonna find things that look man-made. Kind of similar to the Bigfoot-looking thing captured on the surface by the Spirit rover in 2007. In fact, there's been a ton of strange things that have been captured by rovers throughout the years, so let's just do a quick speed run of some of the more prominent ones.
I was so excited when I heard the sandwich was back. I was like, Cloud9, what's up? This is Mike. And a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich is the pimento cheese. It's savory and
Now this is pretty intriguing. It kind of looks organic, almost like a piece of coral or something. This was discovered by the Curiosity rover in February of 2022. This is actually a lot smaller than you think. In fact, it's smaller than a penny. It does have an organic look to it, but according to the experts, it's just a diagenic crystal cluster, aka a little mini mineral flower, and this was caused by flowing water. Later that year, in June of 2022, the Curiosity rover took this image of strange-looking elephant trunks sticking vertically out of the surface. These are actually a type of casting. They form when a smaller, more compact cement-like material leaks into small holes in softer rocks, and then over a long period of time, blowing sand erodes those softer rocks away, and you're left with these spikes sticking out of the ground. Kind of like if you had like limestone here on Earth with like holes in it, and you poured like cement in it, you know, you could sandblast that limestone and it would look something like this. The same process actually happened in this image as well. I know what you're thinking. That's totally a serpent's tail fossil. No, it's not. It does look kind of sketch though, I'll be honest. It's the same sort of thing. A cement-like substance seeped into some rock. Over time, that softer rock eroded away and you're left with this spiny looking scary thing. I mean, if it was all by itself, I'd be a little sketched out, but clearly there are other rocks that look very similar near it and around it. So you can definitely tell something more natural is happening. Let's talk about some of the weird features on moons within our solar system, starting with this ridge on Iapetus. So Iapetus is Saturn's third largest moon, and this ridge is actually the third largest mountain range in the solar system. It's big. It was first seen by Voyager 2, but they didn't really know what it was. They just noticed some mountains, and they called them the Voyager Mountains. However, Cassini in 2004 got an even better look, and what it saw was pretty wild. A ridge that was seen only within the dark parts of the moon. So the dark region of this moon is known as Cassini Regino, and the ridge can be seen quite easily in this dark part. But once you get to the lighter part, it's not there. What the heck? What is going on? Scientists actually don't know. And there are a few theories. My favorite theory is that perhaps Iapetus had its own ring system. Yeah, which would be sick. A moon with rings, that's sweet. And over time, those rings, you know, they deorbited and then they kind of hit the equator and then you've got this ridge thing building up. That'd be cool. It's actually very similar to something known as a shepherd moon. So shepherd moons are within Saturn's rings. And they kind of like take some of that dust away from the rings and they get like this little saucer looking thing to them. Maybe that's what happened like a long time ago. Or maybe Iapetus even had a sub-moon, which is like when a moon has its own moon, a moon. And there's other theories like perhaps when it was forming, the way it cooled was really unique and it was spinning really fast. And in the end, it had this ridge around it. It's kind of a mystery. Time to send a rover. This would be kind of a fun place to visit, actually. That'd be a cool ridge to check out. All right, let's go from Saturn's moon to our own moon, the moon. Now, back in the day, I used to watch the footage of the astronauts in orbit around the moon, and I'd see different craters and different features, but I always saw these weird lines, and they always intrigued me. I always thought, are those ancient riverbeds? Like, what the heck is going on? Well, these lines are actually known as rills. These are seen throughout the lunar surface. Sometimes they are curvy like riverbeds, and sometimes they are perfectly straight. The curvy lines are known as sinus rills, and they are believed to either be ancient lava flows or perhaps collapsed lava tubes, as they usually begin at extinct volcanoes and extend outwards. One of the rills has actually been visited by humans. Rima Hadley was visited by Apollo 15 in 1971. Here's a photo from above the surface. See this meandering line right here? Well, here's that same line down on the ground. And it's only about 700 feet deep. I mean, if you wanted to walk down that, you probably could. Not all rills are curvy like riverbeds. Some are straight, and some of them, they just go straight through mountains and craters. They don't care what's in the path. And these are caused by depressions between two plates within the moon. So, yeah, pretty cool. Moving on. Now, obviously, the moon is littered with craters, some massive, some super small, but there are a few odd craters that can be quite perplexing. One of them being Ina. Ina is an IMP, or an irregular Mar patch. Now, Ina is also known as the Blue Lake. It was seen by Apollo 17 as it was lifting off. Okay, so what? A blue lake on the moon? What is going on? Well, scientists still aren't exactly sure, but they think it might have to do with outgassing. It looks like some of the regolith is missing from this patch of the moon. So regolith is like the soil of the moon. It's the powdery substance, and it seems to be missing in patches around this area. Perhaps it was a low-lying surface volcano that, and the regolith went all over the place. Maybe some other form of outgassing. I don't know. Another lunar mystery. Let's move on to the islands of Titan. This right here is one of Titan's most prominent lakes located in the North Polar region known as
Legia Mare.
Now, this isn't water. This is actually liquid methane. And this photo is stunning. It's not a true color image, but it's still crazy that this is not on Earth. Like, look at the rivers. Like, you even had this little crater right here. Anyway, this little section of the shoreline has proven to be quite enigmatic as it has changed and evolved throughout the years. Scientists have called these little sections magic islands, and they believe them to be some sort of material floating on the surface of the lake. Kind of like the way pumice floats on water here on Earth, or like moss. It's pretty intriguing because it could be an organic material. We have sent so many rovers to Mars, it's time to send one to Titan. For real, like one that can actually travel around and stuff. Titan is probably the most interesting moon in our solar system. Another moon worth mentioning is Mimas, Saturn's smallest round body moon. In fact, it's actually the smallest round body object in our solar system. Smaller celestial bodies just don't have enough gravity to condense into a round shape, and Mimas is just barely big enough to be round, but it's definitely pretty rough looking. What's so fascinating about Mimas is this 4 billion year old massive crater right here. This is Herschel Crater, named after Sir William Herschel, the man who discovered Mimas. This large crater makes the moon look slightly like the Death Star. The scientists find this crater quite unusual because they assume such a large impact would have shattered the entire moon. And while it didn't shatter the moon, it definitely caused a lot of strain. Like, do you see these little rough lines right here going across Mimas in this image? Those may potentially be fractures caused by the impact. Speaking of lines across moons, let's talk crater chains. Sometimes you see craters on an astronomical body scattered throughout, and sometimes you see them in a long line. These are known as crater chains, and they are seen on many astronomical objects all throughout the solar system. They are often caused by a large object being broken up into smaller objects by strong tidal forces before impact. Like, for example, comet Shoemaker-Levy 9, which impacted Jupiter in a line in 1994. Sometimes tidal forces only break larger objects into two pieces, so you get double impact craters, like this interesting looking one on Mars. Another cause of crater chains, especially on the moon, are larger impacts strong enough to create a line of crater ejecta that then returns to the surface as a series of secondary impacts. You can see this very clearly on the Martian moon Phobos. See these lines stretching across the surface away from this massive crater? These are the secondary impacts of the ejected material from the first impact. Speaking of Phobos, there's a strange boulder on its surface known as the Phobos monolith. Now, yes, it does kind of just look like a large boulder, but it's still a bit puzzling to scientists. It is believed that this is a foreign object that somehow got lodged into the side of Phobos without leaving an impact. Scientists still are not sure how it got there, and there are actually many proposed missions to further investigate it. It's just another solar system mystery. Well, there you have it. Those are some strange structures throughout our solar system. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Between March 15th and March 18th of 2023, something insane happened on the surface of the sun. A plasma tornado, which looks absolutely ridiculous. But not only that, on April 27th, 1999, the Hubble Space Telescope pointed its lens towards Mars and saw this: a Martian hurricane. What? Technically, it wasn't a hurricane because, it's not a tropical cyclone. You kind of need an ocean, and, we don't need to get into vocab words, but it was a cyclone of some sort. I mean, look at that eye. In fact, this thing measured over 1,000 miles wide, and the eye was 200 miles wide. Put that on Earth. You want to see what that looks like on Earth? Yeah, absolutely massive. Oh, and did you know that throughout history, many people have claimed to have seen lightning flashes on the moon? What the heck is going on? Well, that's what we're talking about in today's video on solar system weather. Welcome back to the channel. We're going on a journey. We're talking about every single planet, but before we get to those planets, let's actually start off with the sun. When it comes to the sun, most don't really think about weather. In fact, many don't even realize the sun has an atmosphere. But it does have an atmosphere, and it's massive. The sun's atmosphere is broken into several different layers, starting off with the photosphere, followed by the chromosphere, and finally the two outermost layers, the corona and the heliosphere. The heliosphere is so large that it actually stretches out into interstellar space. Now, what's interesting about the sun's weather is that it impacts the entire solar system. This is why scientists prefer the term space weather over solar weather, as the sun's weather doesn't really stay within its boundaries, but actually gets shot out all over the solar system. Solar storms include both solar flares and corona mass ejections. This is when the sun shoots out massive bursts of plasma and particles. And if these storms are directed towards Earth, they can cause a geomagnetic storm. Geomagnetic storms are the result of solar winds interacting with our magnetosphere, and that's how we get beautiful auroras. Large geomagnetic storms can actually pose a threat to our well-being. In fact, on September 1st, 1859, a massive solar storm hit the Earth in what is known as the Carrington event. Telegraph wires were fried, auroras were seen as far south as Mexico. If the Carrington event happened today, it would do all sorts of damage to our electrical systems. Satellites would be damaged, communication systems would go down, there would be blackouts. It would not be good. And this actually almost happened in 2012. There was a massive solar storm and it just barely missed us. So we have solar winds and we have solar storms, but let's go back to solar tornadoes. From time to time, solar tornadoes have been known to crop up on the surface of the sun. In March of 2023, a massive solar tornado formed towards the sun's north pole. The height of this tornado was 110,000 miles, or about 14 Earths, which is insane. This footage just is amazing to me. Like, first it starts off and there's some disturbances, there's something going on, and then all of a sudden it just takes off. It's such a sweet piece of footage. Speaking of tornadoes, Mercury also has tornadoes, but not the kind you're thinking of. But before we get to said tornadoes, let's just take a quick look at Mercury. Yeah, not much is going on in terms of weather, considering it barely has an atmosphere. But scientists did discover an interesting tornado-related phenomenon. Like Earth, Mercury also has a magnetosphere, but Mercury's magnetosphere is weak. so weak that sometimes it has massive holes. These massive holes spiral down to the surface of the planet and take on the appearance of a huge magnetic tornado. These magnetic tornadoes expose Mercury's surface to the solar winds, so you wouldn't want to be chilling in, the eye of one of these tornadoes. Not that you'd really want to be chilling on Mercury in the first place, considering the surface temp on the dark side is negative 290 degrees Fahrenheit, and on the day side is 800 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know if you could find a sweet spot, in the shaded area, kind of on the edge of the day and night cycle. You can find a perfect temperature there. Probably not. We're moving on. Now, Mercury didn't offer much in terms of weather, considering it has no atmosphere. But our next planet, Venus, has all sorts of insane weather. The climate on Venus is not fun. Surface temperatures are around 900 degrees, and the atmospheric pressure on the surface is about 90 times more than Earth. Not an ideal place to hang out. In fact, the planet is so inhospitable that the Soviet Venera probes, at best, only lasted for a couple of hours, which is actually pretty impressive considering how extreme the environment was. Do you want to know what it would sound like to be on the surface of Venus? Well, fortunately for us, the Soviet Union's Venera 14 actually recorded its surrounding environment. Take a listen. The clouds on Venus are quite unique, as they are mostly composed of sulfuric acid droplets. Venus also has acidic rain. It wouldn't feel good. The clouds on Venus look very similar to towering cumulus clouds here on Earth and cover almost the entire Venusian surface. They are also highly reflective, which is why Venus is so incredibly bright in our night sky. The only objects in the night sky brighter than Venus are the sun and the moon. And I guess technically the occasional great comet. And I guess if Betelgeuse went supernova, or if there's a supernova, that would be super bright too. But you know what I mean. Perhaps the most interesting weather anomalies on Venus are its two polar vortices. These are double-dyed hurricanes at both poles that were first discovered by the Pioneer Venus orbiter in 1979. They were confirmed in 2006 by ESA's Venus Express orbiter. So what causes these polar hurricanes? Well, while Venus itself rotates extremely slowly, only about once every 117 Earth days, the atmosphere whips around the planet once every 4 Earth days. The disparity between the atmosphere rotation and the actual planetary rotation is the likely culprit for these polar vortices. Now, there's actually a sweet spot in the Venusian atmosphere, about 30 to 40 miles up, that could be very nice for human habitation or for life in general. You'll find that temperatures are very comfortable, very similar to what it is here on Earth at sea level. Gravity is similar. You even get radiation shielding from the thick atmosphere. You wouldn't be able to breathe. But who needs to breathe? Just put on a pressure suit. We could build another cloud city. It'd be sick. Next up, we travel to Earth. We're here right now. If you want to know more about our planet's weather, you can just look at any of my historic videos. But quick shout outs to hurricanes, derechos, which are hurricanes, tornadoes, cool stuff.
Your kids are on their way.
I bet. Hey, Meta, look and tell me how many field.
Take several hundred balloons to fill this space.
The moon doesn't really have much of an atmosphere, so weather, right? Light reportedly observed the moon for centuries. These flashes of light are known as transient lunar phenomenon, or TLPs, and they were even reported 1,000 years ago. One of them happened on June 18th, 1178, when 5 or more monks from Canterbury reported some unusual activity on the moon's surface shortly after sunset. Quote, "There was a bright new moon, and in the phase horns toward the east, only the upper horn split in two. From the midpoint of the division, a flaming torch sprang up, spewing out over a considerable distance fire, hot coals, and sparks." That sounds pretty dramatic. And there have been many reports similar to that throughout the decades. And you might be thinking, wow, if there's all these flashes on the moon, shouldn't we have video of it or something like that? Well, actually, we do. In February 2023, a Japanese astronomer by the name of Adachi Fuji captured this video. So what caused this flash? Well, we actually know what causes the majority of these flashes. They're asteroids impacting the surface. Asteroid impacts are the most likely mechanism behind all of these historic light flashes. In fact, sometimes the crater itself can be found after the event. Like, check this out. Here's the lunar surface before and after a flash impact that occurred on March 17, 2013. The two images were captured by NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. While the majority of flashes on the moon are indeed impact events from asteroids, scientists also believe that some flashes may come from some sort of electrostatic phenomenon. These lightning flashes occur when gas-borne dust clouds extend from the surface and give rise to electrostatic discharges. Back to that monk story from earlier, it is believed that the Giordano Bruno crater could have been related to that event, and that would have been pretty epic to see. We are continuing forward to the planet Mars. Mars is probably best known for its large, planet-wide dust storms. Here on Earth, dust storms are pretty localized to specific regions or deserts. Sometimes in the Midwest, we get dust storms from derechos, and who can forget the Dust Bowl of the 1930s? But on Mars, these dust storms covered the entire planet. They're so massive that their impact can even be seen through ground-based telescopes here on Earth. The Mars Global Surveyor captured this image in June 2001. 1 month later in July, you can easily see the impact a dust storm can have throughout the entire planet. Here's another example from July 2018. These dust storms can be quite hazardous to scientific probes. Solar panels can get covered with dust, and this can cause many probes and rovers to go into a low-powered survival mode for several weeks. I always imagine these dust storms looking like those massive dust storms from Mad Max Fury Road, if you know what I'm talking about. I mean, that's just me. They probably look more like the dust storms from The Martian. Perhaps my favorite natural phenomena on Mars are the dust devils. These are actually quite common on the Martian surface. They form the same way they do here on Earth. The sun shines down on the Martian desert floor, and it gets pretty hot, and then that hot air rises through convection, and cooler air comes underneath, and then, you get this, like, cycle, and you get an eddy. This particular dust devil had a diameter of 30 meters and was 800 meters high. I mean, that would look like a full-fledged tornado. Like, that's a pretty massive dust devil. And I'm sure you want to know what a dust devil sounds like on Mars. Well, we have a recording from NASA's Perseverance rover. Check it out. I have a bone to pick. Why can't we get like an actual video of one of these? I know we have like a series of photos, but I would love to just have like an actual video. Like when they sent up the drone, I was like, yo, this is going to be sick. We're going to have drone shots of Mars. And then they're like, check it out. And it's like, which is still cool. Don't get me wrong. I like it. If we had like a straight up video, that would be #1 trending on YouTube. If we had like a nice video of a dust devil on Mars from a drone. And you might be thinking, Jake, that's not important. What's important is, the instrumentation research microscope, that stuff. I disagree. All right. I think getting people excited for space is key. Maybe we should move on. Mars also features ice clouds very similar to noctilucent clouds here on Earth. These are high altitude ice crystals that attach to small little dust particles. And if we go back to the beginning, remember that hurricane? Those are straight up ice crystal clouds. So this is like an ice crystal hurricane. These Martian cyclones are often referred to as repeating northern annular clouds, as they appear around the same time every Martian year. They are short-lived, and there are many theories as to what causes them to form. Some say it's very similar to a polar low here on Earth, but it's all still a bit of a mystery. So we're leaving the rocky planets and we're heading out to the gas giants, which, by the way, have massive atmospheres, which means massive weather events. And we're starting off with Jupiter. Jupiter has so many different vortices and so many different